welcome back to another video. This I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call it, but I've been filming a few different arty projects over the past 2 weeks. I think there's 3 projects in total which I work on in this video, and one of them kind of has 2 outcomes, so I guess 4 projects really. I'm going to pop my face in throughout this video because I didn't really explain anything whilst I was filming, so I just figured I'll explain it all now and it'll just cut back to me. So I'll pop up throughout the video. So in the last video I made where I was collaging vegetables, I made these 2 collages. I made this, like a nice, make sure I've got room here. I made this, which is like a little A6 piece which I made for my top tier Patreon member, so I no longer have that. That got sent off to its new home. And then I made another collage, an A4 version, because I wanted to turn that into a print for my shop update, which is on the way. But then after I made those pieces of art, I was looking at them and I realised, hold on now, these, roll back into the middle. I was like, these would probably make a really nice book cover for like a gardening book or like a vegetable growing book. So here's some footage of me putting together a book cover, and I'll come back in a bit. Oh, before I get into that, I just want to quickly mention there's just a few more days left of this month, and the Patreon print this month is this. I'll pop it up on screen. This will be like cherry blossom piece. So if you would like to receive this in the post, it's an A5 print. You just have to pledge to the little snips here on my Patreon at any point before the end of this month. So as soon as it turns to the 1st of May, that's the end of the deadline. So if you would like to get this print, you've got just a few more days to do that. I'm going to be painting this piece of paper. Well, it's not very exciting. I'm going to paint it various shades of brown. But the reason I'm doing it is exciting. I'm going to be trying to make a book cover out of this piece of art that I made in the last video I posted. But I've decided to try and make it into a book cover, because it's good to show your work in a commercial setting, like a book cover, an advertisement, a magazine, products, things like that. So I'm making this for my website just because, I mean, I've made the art and I think it'll look good as a like a vegetable growing guide, one of those books, like a gardening book. I've done a Photoshop mock cover, and basically I'm going to put that collage on top of a brown background, but I want the background to look kind of like dirt and, you know, have the same collage texture that I like in all my work. And I was trying to like make the texture in Photoshop by just like splattering a bunch of like splatter brushes, but you could kind of tell that it was done digitally. Oh, and if this ends up turning out nice, which I suspect it will, because I mean I've already done the hard work of making the piece of art, I'm literally just kind of popping a title on it now and adding a background. I'd like to print it off and get an existing book, just like a book that we don't use, and print it out and stick it onto the cover so it looks like a real book, and then I can like photograph it. Oh, I should also say thank you to all the new people who have subscribed to me and have started following me. I had quite a recent flurry of interest. My channel has been growing at a snail's pace, snail's rate, kind of ever since I started it really, 7 years ago. So it's nice to kind of get subscribers quick for once. So that's a nice surprise. I imagine it will slow down at some point. So thanks to everyone new who has joined. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I reckon, I don't even know if I'll do another one. I reckon that's fine. I'm going to edit it now and you'll be able to see why I've just painted a piece of paper brown. Alright then, voiceovers here for a bit. This is me painting the title for the book. If you're thinking, wow, she's managed to do that really neat, it's because I did a very faint outline. You might be able to see it's very subtle. I did a little pencil outline. I got the font up on my laptop. I think the font is called Baskerville. It's one of my favourite fonts actually. Fun fact, my favourite font is Baskerville. Well, actually my favourite font is Leiborough Baskerville, something like that, but then my second favourite is Baskerville. That couldn't be more of a boring fact if I tried. Anyway, I traced it and I painted it because I wanted it to look kind of wonky. Like it was too clean, the actual text on the laptop, like just typing it out. So I thought if I painted it, it would have a nice little wobbliness to it, which would match the illustrations nicely, but it would still also be quite neat because I am just, you know, painting inside the lines. So it was a nice little touch. Here's a little screen recording of my Photoshop file. You can see me going through all the layers and how I pieced it all together. It was quite a big editing job. I think I spent about like a day and a half editing this. You can see how that nice brown background I painted worked for the soil in the back, and then it was just kind of like taking bits from the smaller collage that I did and just kind of rearranging it on the back to make a nice little border. So it was quite simple actually to put this piece together. So the book cover is finished. I imagine I will have edited and showed you a bit of the behind the scenes process on Photoshop of how I got there. But it actually turned out really nice. I was worried I'd have to like do a few print attempts until I got like the perfect colours, like making it brighter and stuff. But first attempt at printing, kind of perfect straight away. So really happy with that. Although I am a little bit worried I didn't leave enough room at the top and the bottom, I suppose, for bleed. So if I show you my Photoshop file, these blue lines around the edges are where the bleed is. So there's a centimetre around the edge of the piece which will get folded over into the inside of the cover, so you won't see this outer edge. That will mean that this will be too close to the top, because right now I feel like it's a good distance, but once I take that centimetre away, is it going to be too close? I don't know, I might have messed up a little bit there. But I can easily fix it, but I kind of don't really want to print this again because that's a lot of ink that I've used for this. Anyway, so I made a template. Oh, and the book in question that I'm going to be using is this Minecraft book, which my boyfriend donated to me because obviously, you know, he'll survive without this. I made a template. So what I did is let me quickly show you. So I got rid of all that and I kept the blue lines because these are just like the guides on Photoshop so they can move around. Anyway, then I traced the guide just with like a black outline. So you can see I've now got an outline over where all the guides are, and I printed that off, and then that way I could tell if it was the right size to actually fit around the book without having to waste a bunch of ink. So I did a test that fit kind of perfectly around the book, so then it gave me the confidence that okay, right, this will be the right size when I print it. So now I'm just gonna score it all and just stick it on and hope that it works. And then I might even make end pages, because like I have all these vegetables which are just, they're all like their own layer, so they're really easy to move around, so they'll be super easy to make into a repeat pattern. So I think for the end pages I'll just do like probably a cream background and then just place these vegetables in a cute way, because it won't be that much extra work and it'll just look nice, I think. Here I am working on the end pages. I ended up just going really simple with this. Originally I was thinking of doing like a big repeat pattern, but I realised it was just too busy, and in the end I just kind of did a nice little spot illustration in the middle of the page with just a few of my favourite vegetable items. Popped the title on again but in a different colour, and that was kind of it. Pretty simple. For the back cover I just did plain solid colour and just popped my name on it, mainly just to like cover up the blue of the book that was already there, so it was easier when taking pictures, you wouldn't kind of see the book underneath. Turned out really well, and then glued it on and did a little photo shoot. I was I was one sweaty girl doing this photo shoot. I had about 10 minutes of sun during this day, and I knew that at any moment that sun could disappear, so I was frantically running around the house to get as many plants as I could and squish them in and try and get some nice pictures of this book. The pictures are good, the pictures will do for now, but I would love to take pictures of this book in front of vegetables or in the garden at some point when the weather's nice with like kind of gardening equipment around it. But all in all, really happy with how this book turned out. I mean, it's going to really confuse someone who picks up this book without any context, sees a gardening book on the outside, opens it up, and it's all about Minecraft. So you could pull quite a good prank with this book. But as for the cover, really happy with it, and I think it makes a nice addition to the portfolio, showing how my work could fit a range of books, not just children's books. How I think collage will work really well. It's like the cover of a cookbook. Hopefully this is showing a bit more diversity on the old portfolio. Anyway, moving on. So the next project I was working on was for, I'm not entirely sure to be honest. Basically, I just got an email through from my agent saying, I think it was just a mass email that she sent to like all the people she represents, but basically saying there's a publisher who wants to see black line drawings of flowers. So I was like, okay, flowers, they're up my street. So I sent her an email asking like, is there any more information? And then she got back saying they want really detailed, beautiful flowers that are just kind of black and white. So I set off drawing some nice flowers. It's very different to the art I usually make now, but you know, back in the day, Emily from a few years ago loved drawing realistic flowers. So this was kind of up my street, even though it's something I haven't done for a while. I feel like it's something which I'm quite good at. I really enjoyed this as well. I love whenever I get the chance to just do something different, because obviously I collage now mainly. I like to think I'm more mixed media, but collage is one of the main medias I use. So whenever I get a chance to just go back to my roots of kind of really detailed pencil drawings. I mean, these aren't super detailed. I still wanted to keep them quite simple because they do want like, well, they were called line drawings, so I was trying to not add too much shade in. So I don't know, I really don't think anything will come from this, but I've sent them off. We will see. I don't imagine I'll hear back about it, but at least by like giving it a go, there's a chance now. Whereas if I wouldn't have given it a go, there was like zero chance. But now there could be a chance that this could go further and end up being a job. They'll have lots and lots of artists to choose from, but this is just what I was offering up. Then the final project that I'm working on in this video is, again, another thing sent through from my agent, a mass email sent to everyone I imagine. Basically, there's a publisher who I imagine they're making a book where one of the characters is a bear, one of the main characters is a bear. So she was asking if to send over any bears that I had, and I didn't really have any bears. The only bear I had done was a tiny little collage tile, one of them over there. I don't know how well they're coming out in this video, but they're all little tiles of different animals and nature related things. They're my Patreon tiles. If you're a Patreon member, you can request a tile and it gets added to the wall. Anyway, one of them is a bear. I'll pop that up here. Other than that, that's all I had bear related. So I thought, to give myself a better chance of potentially maybe getting a job, I would just do a few different bear designs. So I'll show you that footage now, and I'll probably hand you over to a voiceover to do a bit of explaining as well. For bear number one, I did 2 attempts actually. The first one, I didn't film any of it, and then I only filmed kind of the finishing touches of the last one, so apologies for that. I didn't realise at the time that it would end up turning into such a big piece. I did a little bit of sketching beforehand for these bears, but I thought I would just kind of jump straight in. I did no planning for this piece at all. I just knew bear in the middle, and then we'll see what happens. For the bear, I wanted it to be, well, this is the second attempt that I did, and I'll show you the first attempt in a little bit, but I just wanted it to look really messy, and I wanted it to kind of look like, because this was all done in acrylic paint, well, the bear was, obviously what I'm doing now is watercolour, but the bear was done in acrylic paint, and I wanted it to look like it had been collaged, have that kind of, I wanted to kind of put my collage texture making hat on, like the hat I have on when I'm painting the paper for a collage, like you saw right at the beginning of this video when I was doing all that, painting that piece of brown paper. I wanted to have my collage hat on, but do it for a character as opposed to like cutting it out with collage, although I do that later on. I just wanted to see what it looked like with acrylic, because I want to start being a bit more mixed media and jumping outside of my comfort zone, because I do love working in acrylic. I want to try and start doing that a bit more often. So the bear was all done in acrylic. The bear is a little bit messed up, and this piece I ended up editing a lot in Photoshop, and you'll see that later on as well. The bear's face I thought was cute, but the body, you'll see in a little bit, I just kind of messed it up. I couldn't quite figure out what to do for the body, and maybe it's just me being picky, because I didn't want it to be like anatomically correct. I wanted it to be, you know, stylized and playful and just look really cute. So I think I kind of achieved that, but there's just a little bit about it which is bugging me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But then when I was editing it on Photoshop, I kind of covered up the bit which was bugging me with a big snowball, because they ended up putting snow in this scene, so that kind of worked out in the end. If there's something you don't like, cover it with a snowball. That's my advice. Anyway, I'm painting loads of little branches, and because the background had acrylic paint on it, you can see it's kind of repelling the watercolour a little bit, and I love the way that looks when you can see like the watercolour kind of pooling up into like kind of darker bits and lighter bits. I really like the way that looks. And then I went in with my gouache, just gouache, and to add on the snow details. This is a real mixed media piece because the bear's acrylic, background's acrylic gouache, the tree is watercolour, a bit of everything in this piece. And then you can see it compared to the first attempt that I did. Looking back at that first attempt, it's rough. It's very rough. Like those arms and those the nails are, oh gosh, they're bad. Anyway, but you gotta do your bad one to do your good one first. And then I moved on. I think I probably did this the following day. Oh no, did I do it on the same day? No, I did it the following day. I moved on to trying to do some collage bears, because as much as I loved those paintings that I did, and I really like the edited version actually, which I keep saying you'll see it in a bit. I wanted to see what I could do with collage. I really loved the texture of the shadow underneath the bear on the painting I just finished, like kind of that really dry brushing with black on top of like a colour. So I thought I would do that for the kind of fur texture on the bear. So I painted a sheet of paper with brown, and then I let that dry, and then I dried brush on top with black, and then kind of did like a gradient with pink for the snout, and I did a bunch of different attempts at this, and then I just cut them out into wonky kind of bear shapes, and this one I really liked, so that's what I did for the head. The body, I kind of did like a fun technique which I've never really done before. You'll see me doing it in just a moment. I made a little template, no, is that the right word? I made a stamp, I suppose. I folded a piece of paper up into a square and taped it together. And then I used that as a stamp. Oh, here it is. I used that as a stamp to create these nice little like diamond shapes on his jumper, because I wanted the jumper to kind of look like it was knitted. And you know, when like a knitted jumper, I don't know the terminology, but when it has those kind of diamond shapes on it, and that's as much information as I can give on that. I wanted to give the illusion of that, but without it being too structured. So I thought if I do a stamp and I kind of just stamp it over and let them kind of overlap and be a bit like abstract, I thought I would just really match the style of this bear. And I really love these bears. I think these were probably my favourite, although I do love the wintry scene that I did the last one in. These guys, especially when they've been edited, they are very, very cute. And I actually am turning them into stickers for the shop update, which is coming. It's just around the corner. I've ordered tape. The tape has arrived. I've got 2 new washi tape designs, which are very, very nice, if I do say so myself. I've got an autumn leaves tape and then a boats tape, like an ocean themed one. And then as far as stickers, I'm getting loads of new sticker designs, and these 2 bears, the edited version of these 2 bears, I'm going to sell them as a little sticker set, because I did a poll on my Instagram asking, there's a few different things that we wanted to turn into stickers, and I couldn't quite figure out which one to do, so I did a poll and the bears won. Although it was very evenly split, to be honest. It was only won by a few percentages. Pop up on screen the edited versions of the bears, because I did a lot of changing, especially to the one with the winter scene behind it. I spent quite like a few hours editing it. The main changes were I slightly altered the body shape of the bear. I kind of squished it a bit and made it more round. On the original there was loads of flyaways around the face. I did like dry brushing off the bear to make it look like the fur was, I don't know, coming out of the bear, but I didn't really like the way that looked, and I wanted it to be more clean, and covered up the bit I didn't like with a snowball, added a little bit more snow and just a few little details. So I love how that's turned out. I think I might make that into a book cover for a book called like a bear's first winter or something, or a cub's first snow, fall, I don't know, a book, something like that. And then you can see the collage bears as well. Right, I think that's everything. I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing just these little projects that I was working on over the past few weeks. We'll see if anything comes from it. I don't think much will, but you know, I've gotten better. It's stuff for my portfolio, and I enjoyed doing it as well. So, right, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.